It's officially here, the COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. We'll talk to some of the first kids to get it.
A unvaccinated nurse gets put on unpaid leave after Kaiser Permanente says her religious beliefs do not exempt her from the vaccine.
The reality is you can stand up here and say whatever you want. That's your First Amendment right. But it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Plus, County Board of Supervisors Chairman Nathan Fletcher responds to racially charged and personal attacks on local leaders after heated public testimony at a board meeting.
The U.S.-Mexico border opens for non-essential travelers. What you need to know.
Fleet Week is rolling into town where we celebrate our military.
And what's old is new again. Ford rolls out a concept electric pickup truck with a retro look. News 8 at 6 starts now.
The push to get more San Diegans protected against COVID-19 got a big boost today. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. Children between the ages of 5 and 11 started getting the vaccine first thing this morning. Approval for that age range was just given by the CDC yesterday afternoon.
News 8's Steve Price talked with children and parents who were among the first in line.
Rady Children's Hospital started offering the COVID-19 vaccine to children ages 5 to 11 today. And starting first thing this morning, hundreds of parents started signing their children up to make sure they were among the first to get it.
You ready?
Let's be honest, who really is ever ready for a shot? But these kids bravely rolled up their sleeves Wednesday morning for COVID-19 vaccinations.
It was like a flu shot, and I'm not good with shots, but I just kept on saying in my head that it's just going to be a pinch and it will be all fine.
Which arm do you want your vaccine in today?
California has been allocated 1.2 million pediatric doses from the federal government, but will parents get their kids vaccinated? Juliana Rojitsky decided yes after doing homework.
The data so far that we've looked at, it looks really good for this age group and no side effects, and so I think the risk of COVID to them is more than this vaccine.
Rady Children's Hospital was proud to be among the first in the state to offer the vaccine. On the flip side, they've seen the importance of protecting kids from COVID, treating over 300, including 75 in the intensive care unit.
You're all done.
The shots will eventually be offered at hospitals, doctors' offices, clinics, and pharmacies. CVS says they'll start vaccinating 5 to 11-year-olds on Sunday, but you need to make an appointment online because not all CVS pharmacies have the Pfizer vaccine, and that's the only one approved right now for kids.
Our goal is always to lessen the burden on the healthcare system and to be a go-to spot and not have to wait for the pediatrician to create a time slot where you've got sick kids who also need to go in for an appointment.
The thought of getting a shot can definitely cause a lot of anxiety in children, so experts offered up some tips. Put a positive spin on the visit by reminding your kids that doctors help them stay healthy and strong. Bring a favorite stuffed animal, blanket, or toy to keep your child company. And have your child wear a t-shirt for easy access.
If you don't have your vaccine, go and get it.
In Birdland, Steve Price, News 8.
All right, Steve, thank you. A panel of San Diego doctors once again took part in a virtual review of COVID-19 misinformation brought up at last night's County Board of Supervisors meeting. The doctors debunked false claims made about vaccines and addressed concerns people have about how new they are.
How these vaccines work to protect you is really not that new, right? Since the dawn of vaccines, we've been chopping up viruses or chopping up bacteria, giving it to your body and letting you produce a response, an immune response to protect your body when the real thing shows up. And that's still what these vaccines are doing.
These review sessions are part of the Board of Supervisors' efforts to combat COVID-19 misinformation, which they declared a public health crisis in August. You can find a recording of today's panel discussion on the county's website. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti is in isolation tonight in a hotel room after testing positive for COVID-19. Garcetti was attending the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Glasgow when he found out. According to Garcetti's office, the 50-year-old is fully vaccinated and is, quote, feeling good. The mayor is President Biden's pick as ambassador to India.
A nurse was escorted out of a San Diego hospital because she refused to get the COVID vaccine. Kaiser did not grant her the religious exemption she requested, saying it was not based on a sincerely held belief. News 8's Ariana Cohen was at Kaiser Permanente in Kearny Mesa and talked to that nurse.
California's vaccination for healthcare workers took effect September 30th, which allows religious and medical exemptions. However, Tori Jensen's religious beliefs didn't make the cut at Kaiser.
I am being escorted out of Kaiser Permanente Hospital for my religious beliefs because I don't want to get the jab.
Tori Jensen is no longer a nurse at Kaiser Permanente San Diego Medical Center in Kearney Mesa. She posted videos on her Instagram page being escorted out after she learned she was put on unpaid leave.
It has been determined that your request is not based on a sincerely held belief in a religious doctrine or teaching that prevents you from obtaining any COVID-19 vaccine. Therefore, your request has been denied. And so I just feel like that's so subjective. This is America when we have religious freedom, and you really can't even ask me what religion I am under my First Amendment rights. It's protected. I'm a Christian. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I prayed and God said, hey, your God-given immune system is sufficient to fight this. All day I've been asking for someone from HR to come talk to me about why my religious exemption was not good enough for Kaiser.
Kaiser Permanente released this statement saying in part, quote, "We believe that misusing the religious exemption to avoid vaccination is disrespectful to those with sincere religious beliefs and could violate the ethical standards we expect our employees to meet."
I don't know what kind of pandemic it is if they're firing nurses who are willing to work. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. This is my livelihood. This is really important to me. I feel like I'm being discriminated against based on my sincerely held religious beliefs.
What do you say to the patients that don't want to be around nurses that are unvaccinated?
That's their choice. I've never gotten COVID to my knowledge. I've never given it to anyone, never put anyone in harm. I feel like I really can feel confident taking care of my patients because I have to test twice weekly. So I wear an N95. I take all the precautions. I've been a COVID nurse since the beginning. That's what we do. We're nurses. I'll keep doing that, just somewhere else.
Jensen says she plans to apply for other nursing jobs in San Diego. In the meantime, she started a website called walkstairs.com, which provides a platform for employers to find employees who are willing to work and choosing not to be vaccinated. I'm Ariana Cohen for News 8.
A man accused of stabbing another man to death in Hillcrest has been arrested in Texas. 51-year-old Randolph Henderson was taken into custody on Friday in Montague, Texas. That's northwest of Dallas. Police say he will be extradited to San Diego to face charges for the death of 60-year-old Stephen Tucker. Tucker's body was found inside an apartment on 8th Avenue last Wednesday. Henderson was initially arrested in Texas on an identity theft warrant out of Colorado.
Next Monday, the U.S.-Mexico border will reopen to non-essential travel. The border has been closed since March of 2020, impacting so many businesses locally.
It's also kept some families apart. News 8's Dana Marie McNichol was near the border where officials spoke on the upcoming changes to travel restrictions.
Starting November 8th, non-citizen travelers with appropriate documentation will be able to cross the border. U.S. officers are asking people to be prepared for two things: to have proof of COVID vaccination, as well as verbally attest to the reason you're traveling into the United States and verbally state your vaccination status. Now, one thing is important to note. Minors are not required to do this. Anyone 17 or younger is not required to have proof of vaccination. The officer of the Port of Entry here in San Ysidro says travelers will need a couple of things.
Travelers are reminded to bring a Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative document, or a WITI document as is better known, such as a valid U.S. passport, a trusted traveler program card, or an enhanced driver's license when re-entering the country. U.S. citizens should also be prepared to present a WITI compliant document and any other documents requested by a CBP officer.
The U.S.-Mexico border is expecting heavy travel and high wait times next week and into the holiday season. Officers are asking non-essential travelers to cross at off-peak hours. People crossing the border for essential travel will not be required to vaccinate. Starting in January 2022, this will change. All inbound travelers will be required to show proof of vaccination.
Not all travelers will be asked for proof of vaccination, but all travelers will be required to have proof of vaccination at the time of entry into the United States.
Officers will accept paper and digital proof of vaccination. The border will reopen to non-essential travelers this coming Monday. In San Ysidro, Dana Marie McNichol, News 8.
Right, Dana Marie, thank you. California's eviction moratorium expired at the end of September, but some San Diego renters are calling on city leaders to do more to protect tenants. Leaders from the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, otherwise known as ACE, say many renters are still on the verge of eviction and facing possible homelessness. They want Mayor Todd Gloria and the City Council to pass ordinances that would protect tenants and require landlords to only be able to evict for certain reasons that must be backed up with proof.
What the law would do is hold them accountable and make them prove, hey, yes, I really am taking it off the market. I really am moving a family member in there. Right now, they don't have to provide that.
A study published by ACE found eviction moratoriums and strong tenant protections were most effective at decreasing no-fault eviction.